What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Devils Talk, and in this one, we are going to be previewing the Devils versus Rangers Game 1. This is going to be a big series for them. I think that, I don't know, I'm not sure how I feel about this one. I think it's going to be a fun series. I know the Devils are really hot right now, and they're doing really well. I just think, too, that, Rangers are a pretty dangerous team, so you can't really think that this is going to be an easy series by any means at all. But I do think that Devils have a good chance of winning this series. But we got to focus on Game 1 first. I think the keys to this series and the keys to especially the first game, especially how the Devils are, the younger team and kind of less experienced. I know that on the Rangers side of their squad and their roster. They've got players that have been in the playoffs before, and they've got players who have been, who've had that experience. Of course, you got Kaner and you got, Troupas and all these guys there that are really experienced in that way. And I think that that's the part that they're going to be using as an advantage is that experience, right? And both, Shesterkin, I believe, he's been in the playoffs. Halak for sure has been in the playoffs. He did a great job years ago with the Canadians, and also I believe with the Blues, if I'm not mistaken. But on the Devils side, I think it's going to be interesting. I think I'm excited to just see how they come out. I think that's going to be a big tell of how they feel and to get a pulse of of where the team's at, just in terms of this is the first time for majority of the roster, right, being in the playoffs, and not too many other people besides a couple guys were there back in 2018 I think it was. So it's exciting. I think that we have a great roster here. I think we got a great group of guys that are this team just knows how to fight back, and Lindy Ruff said a lot of times that this team knows different ways to win the games, right? I think that's a big part. How do you win games in different situations? If you go up, keep the lead. If you go up, lose the lead, get it back. Or if you go down early in the game, fight back. We just saw them win, 4-1 or go down 4-1 against Washington, come back and win it, right? Which by the way, Luke Hughes, unbelievable goal. So these ways that they've won all year long, it's really, I believe, important, and it's going to show how much fight they have in them in the playoffs. It's going to show, right? Because the playoffs is where you kind of need that. And I also think too that the maybe even the lack of experience for a bunch of guys like Jack Hughes, and then Mercer, a couple guys, and even Vanacek to a certain extent. Sometimes when you're naive to it, you kind of, I guess, sometimes, and I've never been in the NHL playoffs, but I think sometimes there's that rookie luck, or not luck, but a rookie mindset where you don't know what you don't know, so you don't even feel the nerves as much as you would if you've been in it before, because you don't even know what to expect, so you just go into it and trying to play as hard as you can. But I think all in all, I really like where Lindy Ruff has brought these guys to this point, and this making it to the playoffs, in my opinion, though, was a huge overachievement this year. I mean, I think this year we were just hoping to have a team that was, good to watch for half the games of the season, and we would have times last year where after a period and a half, it's the game's over. So to say where we're at is a surprise, is a huge understatement there. So really proud and happy to be a Devils fan right now. So it's going to be exciting again. But I think, the key thing, especially Game 1, I'll say, is it's going to start definitely with the goaltending. I think Vanacek has been really good, especially the last, I'd say maybe the last 10 games of the season. He's found his rhythm. I think there was a bit of a lull there where he kind of dipped a little bit, but that was mostly maybe end of December, I guess. or maybe end of January. But like he's found his rhythm. I'm not sure backup wise. I feel like Schmid should be a backup. You know, for whatever the reason, Blackwood this year is just inconsistent, and we don't, or they don't. The team in front of him don't play as well as they probably should when he's in net, giving up bad chances. So it's tough, and it's hard to play. It's hard to play, like, to get your rhythm back if you don't play often, right? It's hard to play consistently when you're not playing every game, and that's tough. And I think that's, the position he's kind of in, especially with the injuries and all that stuff. So it's hard. But I think Schmid, my opinion, there's a certain confidence he has in his game right now. You can tell, like, he's just the shots. When he's makes saves, he's not letting pucks go through him. He's solid. He's like really solid in net, and positioning's really great. He's got that big size. He's 6'5", right? So he's got that really good size on him, and he doesn't really challenge too far all the time, which is in a good way, right? He doesn't overcommit, and he's really good. And I think the experience has really helped his game. But again, right now, Vanacek is the number one in my opinion for sure. He's going to have to come up big against a Rangers team that I think they quietly, because I know Patrick Kane was out for a couple of games, I think, towards the end. But towards the end of the season, they were Rangers were playing well. A couple of games here and there, maybe they wish they had back against the Sabres or whatever. But they're a dangerous team, and I think the Rangers are a scary team in the playoffs because sometimes they're a team that just can get on that roll, But I think with the Devils, the key, I think, above or beyond the goaltending side of things, the key with the Devils here is their transition game has to be really good. Again, keep that up. I think that is one of their best attributes best things about them this season is that their ability to transition that puck up and down the ice as quick as they can. And there's a video I broke down when they last beat the Rangers. Just the way that they would transition the puck quickly. They would steal it, turn right around, and go. And their passes in between the two blue lines, right? It would just be quick, or their ability to skate through. It's really good. They don't really turn it over that much. And it's just really fast from one end to the other, and that's what they got to keep up with, right? And because I think the Devils are a faster team than the Rangers. The one thing I'm concerned about is the physicality, right? I mean, Timo Meier is a big body, and he is starting to throw his body around, which is great. Miles Wood throws his body around. A couple other guys too, but the Rangers have a big team. I mean, Trocheck, Trouba, these are guys that are big dudes, and they're very physical. And that's one thing that I'm concerned about, where not that, well, who knows, it's Devils Rangers series, but there could be cheap shots, right? And there could be maybe trying to hurt the top players of the Devils. And that's one thing that kind of concerns me is you want to make sure that you keep your players like Hughes and Hischier and all of them safe. I mean, people seem to target Hischier this year so much. It's so weird. But, the Rangers are a more physical team than the Devils are, and it would be interesting to see how the Devils decide to combat that, and how they decide to fight against that. And that's one of the big things this year with the Devils is they're not that big of a team, right? So but they've been able to use their speed and all that. But the times where they've had struggles is when they kind of get bodied and bullied by a more physical team. So that's going to be something to look out for. But in terms of just offensive power, I think, again, Jack Hughes is going to have to just keep on that role he's on. I think Mercer's going to come up big. I definitely think Palat is going to shine in the playoffs. Those veterans who have playoff experience, it's so valuable to a team, right? I think, in my opinion, it's just you get guys who just have a confidence about what to expect and how to play in the playoffs. So, I think he's going to come up big despite, the year he came off of injury, so he had to kind of work his way back into being in hockey shape and getting hockey live game reps and everything. but I think he's going to do a good job. I'm hoping, Heischer, Hughes, Mercer, Meyer, they're going to be great. I'm hoping Sharon Govich kind of breaks out this playoffs. I really like the fact that he's still with the Devils, didn't get traded or whatever, but sometimes some games he's really good. Some games, not that he's bad. It's just some games he'll maybe not make that extra play that he needs to, or he'll be right on the edge of getting a good opportunity or whatever, and it doesn't kind of pan out for him. I think Tatar is going to have a big game. He's a guy that he kind of reminds me a little bit of this is heavy comparison, but kind of a little bit of John Madden in the sense that he's got the hustle, and he always seems to work his way into the good spots, into the good scoring area chances, but he's not afraid to kind of get into those gritty, right in front of the net, right in front of the D places to get some scoring chances. Right, he gets those dirty goals sometimes, but he has he also has nice goals too. But that's not always a picture perfect scenario for him to get a shot off or get a goal. So I think that Tatar is going to be big in the playoffs. I'm hoping that Haula also gets some. He's been on a bit of a good streak just in terms of getting timely goals and getting a bunch of good chances, as opposed to early in the season where he really just couldn't buy a goal. And I think it's going to be great. I think on the defensive side, Hamilton, right? I think Hamilton's going to have to come up big. He's going to have to make sure that he is still that offensive defenseman powerhouse that we've had all season. I think that that's going to be important for us, especially how, again, it's part of the Devils' game for their D-men to jump in on the offense. So it's going to be good for them to have that, those contributions and those kind of that offensive productivity from the defense, And also, again, I think the defense, they're going to have to throw their body around. I think Ryan Graves has done it, which is great. Him and Ball are the two biggest guys, and Hamilton's pretty huge, but Hamilton's not as physical, I don't think, as a Ryan Graves is. And Ryan Graves, Ryan Graves, let's give it up. A couple of times this season, or past couple games in the end of the season, he made some game-saving stops in terms of getting the puck away. With the Rangers game, he removed the puck from the net. I think the Buffalo game or the Capitals game, he stopped the puck from a wraparound or something. Big shout out to him for just those really good stops there on the in front of the net or whatever. But yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting. Devils Rangers is always a fun playoffs. This time around, I'm a little bit more nervous than I'm excited, just because first time we're in the playoffs. I kind of want it to be again, not that the Rangers are the impossible team, but they're difficult, and and I also just sometimes you hear it from the Rangers fans of if they do have success in this playoffs, then I don't know, it gets a little annoying, but it's a rivalry, they always get annoying, but it should be interesting. I think a big thing too, especially on the defensive end, just let's minimize mistakes. I think this Rangers team, and it's also where the playoff goes, right? Once you get on a roll and you get momentum's just a crazy thing in the playoffs. You just you just roll with it, and sometimes the underdogs make it all the way, like the Kings did back in 2012, and or the Anaheim Ducks did in 2003, and those things just happen in the playoffs. It's a weird thing, but they happen, and so the Devils just want to make sure that they're on the right side of that. I know Curtis Lazar is coming back also, so hopefully, or he is back, but hopefully he is also well rested and is a factor there too. But again, the Rangers, of course, everyone knows just how good the talented the roster is, from Tarasenko to Kane, and Zibanejad. I think Zibanejad is the one who I am most concerned about. Of course, Kreider is really good, but Kane and Panarin and Tarasenko, those of course are tough guys. But I don't know, man. I just think Zibanejad is, in my opinion, the Rangers' best player outside of Shesterkin. I think Shesterkin is the number one guy of what's going to help the Rangers get success. But I'm just if Zibanejad turns it up in the playoffs, he's one of those guys that's really, really, really hard to stop. So it should be interesting. And again, yeah, I'm looking forward to it, but I'm also a little nervous because these guys are good. These guys are really good, but we'll see, and it's going to be another classic, hopefully classic, Devils Rangers series, and hopefully the Devils will end up on top. But that's it for this video. Just a short, quick preview of my thoughts of the upcoming series between Devils Rangers. Should be a fun one. Should be an exciting one. And if you're a fan of the Devils, subscribe and like this video. I will be trying to cover more and more of their hopeful